welcome back to the channel, and today I'm doing my review of Harvest Moon: The Winds of Anthos. This review will be on the Nintendo Switch version. It's also available pretty much everywhere for $49.99. There are little bits of DLC that they've been announcing, such as like a little animal pack and things like that, but we're reviewing just the base game here. And I gotta say, I'm pretty excited for this review and for this game. It's a very ambitious take from Natsume. Harvest Moon has been around forever, but this seems to me anyway to be one of the more ambitious titles. This is a open world farming game, and I really want to drive that point home because not a lot of farming games do this. This might be the future of them, but for the most part, farming games, you exist in this pretty small linear world. So this one tries something new and different. I'll discuss if it worked or not. But shout out to Natsume for providing the review copy. And you know what? On this channel, review copies don't mean nothing, okay? I'm going to be giving you my 100% honest review. It's going to be a relaxed sort of thing. I have some main points here. So let's get into it. Okay, so when you first start this game off, like most farming games, you are going to customize your character. I will say in the Winds of Anthos, you don't have a lot of options, unfortunately. Here you go. These are the options you have: male or female, your hair color, and your eye color, and your birthday. And that's pretty much it. And yeah, I mean, you don't get to choose your hairstyle. You don't get to choose your eyes. It's pretty much a set character that you have to choose from. You can do different colors, like I said, of your hair and eyes, but that's pretty much it. You can, of course, name yourself and assign your birthday. Spring, summer, fall, winter, and you can choose your day. I haven't experienced my birthday in the game because my birthday is very late into the year. It's the 24th of fall in this game. So that was kind of a letdown. I feel like these types of games, you're spending a lot of time with your character. So it's kind of a bummer that, you know, we didn't get more options. I will say that later in the game, there are some outfits that you can purchase and wear. So that's good at least. There's not a ton of those though. I think there's like a handful. So if you're looking for a game that lets you customize a bunch of things, you know, visually for your character, this isn't the one. I do have a major update though. So a few weeks ago, I did a preview. So Natsume actually invited me to a digital event and I, you know, watched the developers play it and asked them questions. And the biggest, I think, problem from that was that the days were, at least in their, you know, they told me that the days were between 8 to 10 minutes long. And when I made that video, a lot of you were commenting saying, man, that's not enough. And I agree, 8 to 10 minutes is not enough. I'm happy to report, I don't know if they updated this game or the developers just answered wrong, I don't know. But the days are much longer than that. So what I actually did was, as soon as I woke up, I had my phone out and I started the stopwatch, and I got a bunch of different times because obviously when you're in menus, the time pauses and things like that. When you're loading into a building, the time pauses. So the average that I can say for a day is between 15 to about 19 minutes if you use the entire day. Now that still to me is very short. I'm very particular about my farming games, especially the day length, and especially a game that's open world. So I do think the days are short. I would like them to update them even longer. However, I will say, as you play the game opens up. So you unlock things like fast travel, you unlock different mounts like horses and things like that. But there are in-game mechanics to really help you out and make your days longer than they actually seem. So, I mean, I'm at the point now, I'm like in sort of the middle of the game at this point. I can pretty much travel anywhere I want. I can teleport anywhere I want. And there are a lot of waypoints in this game that let you travel between. So that's pretty good at least. And like I said before, the different mounts in the game, horses, zebras, camels, the animals I'll get to in a little bit, but they're really cool. They make traversing the worlds much better and much faster. So the day length, I just wanted to update that. Super important to me. I'm pretty sure it's super important to you. They're not as bad as I thought they were. Okay, let's talk about this. The visuals and the performance of Winds of Anthos. And for me, the visuals are a little bit of a mixed bag. I think this game doesn't look the greatest. I don't mind the art style. I would really compare this game to a modern Pokemon game, visual wise and honestly gameplay wise. We'll get into that in a second, but the visuals I feel like are fair. There's a lot of detail in this game that's not there. You know, like the open worlds is a little bit on the bare side. You know, art is subjective, but I do think the visuals are a little subpar. Performance, and this is where we have to kind of stop and discuss this. The performance isn't the best. It's not to the point where I don't want to play this game, because I've been binging this game. I've been so obsessed with this game. But the performance of this game is, again, subpar. I think the visuals and the performance of this game is kind of where it lacks. Now, in the same breath, there are parts of this game that look really, really nice. Oddly, the skies in this game look amazing. They really look amazing. The nighttime skies with all the stars, the shooting stars, things like that. There are, you know, different weather effects in this game, like rainstorms and snowstorms and sandstorms that look really cool. The performance, though, and I don't know what it is. For me, I think the game is like constantly loading in stuff. So I think because of that, you're getting sort of the stutters and the stops that you might experience in some other games. This could easily be patched. Again, I'm playing this game before it launches, so there might even be a launch day patch. But as it stands right now, there are definitely some dips in frame rate and performance. Just wanted to put that out there. Again, I've been playing this a lot. I don't think it hinders the game at all, but it's definitely noticeable. All right, if you make an open world game, you gotta talk about the open world. And the open world in this game plays a huge part in terms of gameplay, in terms of story. So how is it? It's another mixed bag. I feel like the open world is a little bit on the bare side. It's not very dense. What I will say about the open world is it's huge. It really is huge. You know, whatever I'm showing on the screen right now, hopefully will show you the scope of this game. But the map is huge. And I want to go out there and say that I would have preferred a smaller map with more in it rather than a bigger map with not a lot to do in it. Now, there are, you know, things to do in the open world. For example, you can find animals in the open world that you can tame. You can find exclusive seeds from these little sprites. You will find all these sprites in the open world. You go up to them, they give you seeds. You will find, you know, different fruits, different fruit trees and different trees, you know, that might have nuts in them or coconuts, things like that. So the open world, there are things to do. I just think that the time moves a little bit on the faster side. So I'm not always able to explore what I want to explore. Now, I will also say that exploring the open world is a little annoying because there are these like ledges that you can't just like jump over or climb, which kind of makes traversing the open world a little tricky. You kind of have to find the right path to get where you want to go. But besides that, I do actually enjoy going around this open world. I feel like there are a lot of different biomes and a lot of different towns that are fun to explore, especially when you're first starting off the game. One of the weird things about the open worlds and about the game in general is it does have seasons, but the seasons really don't matter. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you guys are playing this and watching this video in the future, the seasons in this game really don't mean anything because the areas in the map are kind of season locked. So the first area that you start off with has cherry blossom trees and it's like the spring. And when you first start this game, you are in the spring. So I'm like, okay, this is how the game looks in the spring. But as you go to different towns and stuff, you'll experience a town that's set in the summer, like a tropical beach town. Then you'll experience an area on the map and a town that is just in fall. And it doesn't matter what time of year you're in, that area is always going to be in the fall. There's another area that's always snowing. There's an area, like I said, the starting area that's always, you know, cherry blossom. So it was a little disappointing to not have the entire map be a season. I kind of like when the entire map changes and you can discover things. However, I do also like it, oddly, because Each biome has exclusive crops that you can get, exclusive fruit that you can get, exclusive animals that you can get. So I thought that was pretty cool, actually. It's a little weird, but you know, when you start playing it, you kind of get used to it pretty fast. All right, let's get to the core gameplay. And I feel like this is where the game shines. And honestly is the most important part. Obviously performance, graphics, you know, the open world, that's important too, but the gameplay is here. Let's start off with farming. Farming is very simple, but it does have some in-depth mechanics that are fun the more you play. So obviously you till the soil, you can plant your crops, you water your crops, you harvest your crops. And you know, we all know farming games and what they do. There's also livestock that you can take care of. Chickens, cows, sheep, different animals that you find in the open world. So that's one of the really cool mechanics, is that you can find, for example, a wild sheep, and you go up to it and you can pet it and tame it. And as your relationship grows, you can actually pretty much adopt that animal and bring it back to your farm. I like that. I actually love that mechanic. I think it's super cool. There's also things like fishing in this game. The fishing plays very well. So basically you throw your line out there with baits, and then the fish bites it, and whatever way it's swimming, you go the opposite way, and eventually you'll tire out the fish where you can reel it in. I actually love the fishing in this game. I would actually prefer this way of fishing to pretty much any other game. I think it's that good. The other cool thing in this game is the mines. So I'm not sure how many different types of mines there are, but there is a mine in the starting town, and it kind of plays like your traditional like Stardew. So you'll go around the mine. They are procedurally generated. So every time you enter the mine, the rooms will be different. So, you know, you have this radar on the bottom right, and you can kind of use that radar to detect things to dig for. And eventually you'll find a ladder, and then you go down a level. Every 10 levels, you get a special like little pond that you can fish in. And the game saves every 10 levels. So when you go back to the mine, you can choose to start on floor 1, floor 10, floor 20. So that's pretty cool. I actually really like the mines. There are some rare gemstones in there. There's some other cool things in there. There's rocks that fall from the ceiling that scared me the first time I experienced it. It's a good time. I like the mines. So yeah, all the core gameplay, the really important core gameplay, the fishing, the mining, the farming, all is perfect. I love it so much. The crops as well. The crops have a really cool thing where depending on where they're grown, because you can actually pick up your farm and move it to different biomes, depending on where you grow your different crops, they will grow as different variants. So I thought that was really cool. So you can grow, there's like 6 different kinds of corn. There's like 6 different kinds of carrots, 6 different kinds of peppers. I really like that. It kind of makes you experiment a little bit. So if you're growing crops in the snow biome, you can still do that because there really aren't seasons, but they'll, you know, pop up differently. So I thought that was cool. Next up, we have some of the meat and potatoes that you can expect in this game. The storyline, the quests. I won't go too much into the storyline, but basically you are helping the harvest goddess pretty much rebuilds this entire world. So basically what you'll do is you'll go from town to town. When you first see these towns, they are in absolute ruin. There's no buildings, and it's up to you to kind of rebuild these towns. As you progress in the game, you can do things like upgrade your tools and unlock like farm expansion and house expansion. I really like the structure of this game. The story, it's there. I wouldn't say it's an amazing story, but it definitely kept me going. If you are someone who likes side quests, this game is for you. There are hundreds. I wouldn't even be surprised if there's thousands of little side quests. Now, these are mostly fetch quests. So like you'll randomly get letters in your mail, or depending on who you talk to in the town, they'll have a little quest for you. So for example, get me 5 apples, grow me 5 tomatoes, bring me 5 pieces of silver, and you get little, you know, little rewards for them. I like that in a game. There's always something to do. The days are a little bit short, so there's definitely a lot of things to do. I like the side quests a lot. Along with the story, I thought it was fun to always have something to do. It's a little overwhelming to have like 15 active quests going, but you can kind of take them, you know, there's no rush. Some of them, you know, have a time specific thing to them, but for the most part, you know, it was a little overwhelming, but I always like things to do. And I don't think I mentioned this yet, but there are some marriage candidates in this game. You can do same-sex marriage. I believe you cannot marry any of the bachelors or bachelorettes until after you beat the storyline. The storyline, I believe, is between 30 to 40 hours, depending on how long you take. So it's definitely a cool sort of end game, sort of reward is to get married. And also, once you beat the story, you can pretty much play this game forever, which is awesome. So what are my final thoughts of Harvest Moon, The Winds of Anthos? I think there are a lot of good things happening here. I don't think it's perfect though. Like I said before, the visuals, the performance, the open world is not quite interesting enough to, you know, spend a ton of time in. I cannot put this game down though. I have been playing this game nonstop, 5-6 hours a day. It has a very addicting game loop. You know, you'll wake up in the morning, water your crops, take care of your animals, do a couple side quests, maybe do a mainline story quest, and then that's pretty much your day, and you keep doing it over and over. You might use some days to like tame some animals. You might do some days of fishing. Like, there's a ton to do in this game. I feel like the gameplay, they nailed it. I feel like this is the first modern Harvest Moon game that I can actually recommend. It's that good. In terms of the value, again, it's $49.99, at least here in the US. I think there's a ton of value here, and there's honestly a lot of replayability as well. There are things that I didn't even mention, like collecting furniture to design your house. You can put up different fences to protect your crops. There's a lot going on in this game, and I definitely do recommend it. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. There are performance issues that need to be fixed. I hope Natsume is watching this. I hope there are some patches to fix, you know, the quality of the game a little bit. But it's a really fun game. I think if you step back and just enjoy the game for what it is, I would definitely recommend it. I've been having so much fun with it. My horse is named Reese's. I mean, what more do you want? I got a zebra named Freddy. Like, what more do you want? So there you go. That's my review. Thank you again, Natsume, for the review copy. Let me know in the comments, are you picking up this game? How are you enjoying this game? And I will see you in the next video. Peace out, everyone.